Hey everyone, it's Inigo here and welcome to my channel. Today I want to make a video about how to use I have in the Finnish language. Typically that will translate to Minulla on. And it's quite interesting because I never really had a lesson on how to use Minulla on. And interestingly, it doesn't really translate to I have in the English language. But I think it can be quite common to always translate Minulla on as I have. And I want to kind of give a lesson to help people understand what is Minulla on and how do you use Minulla on. And it will be the same for Sinulla on, Hänellä on, Meillä on, Heillä on, Teillä on. I want to kind of explain to just sort of help people understand how to use it. And this particularly refers to how to decide what the object is going to look like, what form is the object going to be in. So quite early on in your Finnish language learning, you'll probably learn that when you're doing a process, the object will be in the partitive form, which typically looks like adding an A or a TA, or somehow you're adding an A to the end of the object. So to give you an example, you could say, I am reading a book, or I am reading some of a book, which would be Minä luen kirjaa. The object would be kirja, and you add another A because it's in the partitive form. And partitive basically means like an uncompleted process, like some kind of process. If you read the full book, it would be Minä luen kirjan. But if you're reading kind of some of the book, Minä luen kirjaa. And partitive form is quite typical. So to bring that back to Minulla on and I have, in English, if you say I have, to have is a verb. And Minulla on, in your head, if you're translating from English, Minulla on would be a process. Like, I have a book. Minulla on kirja. You would think it would be the same as Minä luen kirjaa. I have a book. It's a process. I'm doing something with the book. I'm possessing the book. But actually, Minulla on, the Minulla bit, there is no verb there. So how do you create Minulla? Where does that come from? So I'll try and put it here on the side. Hopefully there's enough room there. But you'll start with the word Minä and the vartalo, which is the body of the word. And you will need to know the vartalo of all different words to understand how to conjugate them and put them in a form that you need to create your sentences. So the vartalo for Minä is minu. And you might hear things like minun or minulle or minulla, which is usually used with Minulla on, which is I have. And this form is the adessive form. And if you use the LLA ending, which you would with Minulla on, typically that ending, adessive, is really, it would be like with something, on something, by something. So the direct translation of Minulla is like with me. And Minulla on would be with me is, or on me is. It's not really I have. And because of this, Minulla on kirja is how you would say I have a book. It's not a process. You're just stating that with me or by me is a book. So sometimes in the past when I was trying to use Finnish, I would get a bit confused about, is it Minulla on kirjaa, Minulla on kirjan, which would mean like one whole book, the whole book. Kirjan is genitiivi. But after a lot of practice, you kind of figure out how these words change. And yeah, Minä turns into minu, which turns into minulla, which, it doesn't translate directly to I have. So in almost all cases, when you use minulla on, sinulla on, hänellä on, meillä on, teillä on, heillä on, the object will be, I think it's nominative, which is the basic case. So minulla on kirja, sinulla on kirja, hänellä on kirja, meillä on kirja, teillä on kirja, and heillä on kirja. The only caveats to this would be probably if you get far enough to learn partitive or partitive, is if there's a number. So if you wanted to say, I have 2 books, you would say, minulla on 2 kirjaa, which means I have, or with me or on me is 2 books. Because you use a number, the object will always be in the partitive muodo or form. And the other one is monikopartitive. So I could say, minulla on kirjoja, minulla on kirjoja, which means with me or by me is multiple books, whole books, but I'm not specifying how many. There's just a number of books. It's more than one. They're whole books, but I'm not specifying how many. I have many books, and typically those would be the only caveats. But otherwise, if you use minulla on or any of those forms of to have in the Finnish language, the object will be in the basic form. So I will put on the side of the screen now like the basic word, and then how it changes, the vartalo of that word, and then what that will look like. So I've written this down just to make sure I can remember it. So you have minä, which changes to minu, which then changes to minulla. And if you say I have, it would be minulla on. Then sinä, which changes to sinu, which changes to sinulla. And then sinulla on, which is you have. Hän, which changes to häne, which is a little bit different. And then hänellä on, which is he or she has. Me, which changes to me, which changes to meillä. And then meillä on, which means we have. Te, which changes to te, which then goes to teillä. And then teillä on, which is you have, plural, multiple you. And then he, which changes to heillä. He, which changes to he, which changes to heillä. And then heillä on, which means they have. So this is how you create these different sentences. And this is how you can hopefully understand that actually you're not really using a verb with to have or with me. And therefore the object is typically just in a basic form. Hopefully that helps, and hopefully that gets your brain kind of ticking and sort of understanding this principle. But this is something that really took me a long time to figure out, and something that I was quite keen to share. I think it's something that you probably will learn very early on. Like I said, one of the first things you learn is how to say I have. And so you probably will think for a long time that there's, I have is used in the same way that I read or I use, and the object therefore will be in the partitive form. But that's not the case, unless you're using a number, or monikopartitive, which is maybe something I will teach or try and teach a little bit later on. The object, when you use I have, in Finnish will always be, in nominative or basic form. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave comments below. I'm not very good at keeping up to date with stuff, and I'm only just making videos again, so sorry if I miss any comments. But I'm hoping to continue to make some, and if you have any topics that you'd really like to learn, maybe I can also make a video on those. And I'm also hoping to make some more videos on kind of just updating my life in Finland, because I think that's also interesting for myself to create a sort of documentary or document my life in Finland and to share that with others. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.